Tired of coffee that just wakes you up and then drops you off like your ex's emotional baggage? Meet Mystic Monkey, the deluxe mushroom coffee from Monkey Werx. Dark roast? Check. Chocolate and caramel notes? Oh yeah. Organic lion's mane and chaga mushrooms? You bet your brain it does. This isn't your grandma's mushroom soup. This is high performance, brain boosting, gut loving, smooth sipping jungle juice. Feel sharp? Stay chill, and maybe, just maybe, unlock the secrets of the universe. Or at least remember where you left your keys. Mystic Monkey. Brew it, sip it, transcend your to-do list. Only at monkeywerx.com. Werx for the soul.
All right. Hey, welcome, folks. Monkey here. It's going to be your SITREP. It is 7/3/2025. Come to you live from Monkey Lounge in the great state of Texas. And hey, by the way, if you've tried the Mystic Monkey and you like it, we just introduced 3 new mushroom lion's mane. We've got some cordyceps out there now. And then, of course, we've got a blended one also out there on monkeywerx.com. Really excited about these, and I think you're going to really like them a lot. In fact, you'll probably love them. So jump over there and get them while they're hot. And so let's get into the deets. Today we're going to be talking about the ISR. Now, if you saw that ISR before the 4th, you may be wondering, what is ISR? It is intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. So we're going to be taking a look at what our agencies are looking at in terms of the United States primarily. This is a big one, folks. All right. Stay vigilant. If you get out there and you're going to these fireworks, just make sure you got eyes on everything around you. See something, say something. Okay. This is a critical time for our country. And I will tell you, as I go into the stories of what, we're going to go back and cover the things that Christopher Wray said, what our Senate has said, what, our agencies are all saying. It's important to know, if you start looking at big picture, rolling it up, I'm going to show you just the flight patterns over the United States over the last 30 days from that the ISR side of the house. Talk a little bit more about Lassai and what the capabilities are. But I'm telling you, this is a very, very critical time for us and for our country because they know we're trying to get them, right? So, okay, let's see here. We're going to jump over here to the Mini first and foremost. You can see the sky in sky glass. We're sitting at 193 up. Now, one of the things you're going to notice right out of the gate is there are a lot of yellow circles on here, okay? Remember I said ISR? Right, you got Intel balloons, you've got Intel flights. Look at this. This is coast to coast, and these are the ones we can see. There are probably others out there, okay, that we can't see. So I would imagine we've got complete coverage over the country in terms of the ISR capabilities. I'm going to show you the 30-day roll-up, and then we're just going to kind of get into the deets. Not going to cover a ton of news today. I'm just going to kind of rehash why we need to be vigilant, okay? So let's do this. Let me take you over. First and foremost, we'll start looking at what you do see up in the skies here. We've got some Intel flights down here off the coast out over the Gulf of America. We've got this one that's actually down right on our border running some patterns. But if you look at where that one's been, all the way from Reno, all the way up here to the north, as you can see, let me kind of zoom in a little bit. Right here, which is us, North Dakota here, Minnesota here. Right. And again, I mean, you can see the coverage, right? A lot of this stuff, signal intelligence, so it's listening, it's gathering for chatter and things like that. Incredible capabilities. Again, when we get to the Lassai aviation side here in just a minute, I will show you some of the stuff this thing can do. But pay attention to that. Now, if we look at H60, or I keep saying I'm going to drop the H, just call them 60s. You'll notice this stuff here, maybe a little bit of training activity, but this up here, not so much, right? Okay, and we've got 33 60s up right now, all right, Blackhawks. Now, look at the air refuelers, KC-135s, and let me see if I can find the B, there we go, right here. It's a little light, 23. Our baseline's 25, but you'll notice too, environment up here, New York, DC, etc. Chicago, Okay. And then out just a little bit north of DFW side of the house, and then out here just east of Seattle, out there near Tacoma. So, all right, I'll peel this back a little bit. We're going to get into the ISR. Now, this is 30 days of Lassai aviation primarily. There are a couple other aircraft mixed into that. But just notice, you'll see the man in the middle circles around kind of Jacksonville, southern Georgia, Savannah, and you'll just see a cover-up pattern there. Look, this, let me see here. It changed over on me. This is the last 2 days, okay? Last 2 days, very, you'll notice kind of the X marks the spot. All right, and notice too, right here. Now, when I show you the R135s and what they've been doing, you'll notice there is definitely something to that, all right? And then, yeah, so we'll go back over here to the 30-day, and let me hit the refresh on that. We go here and refresh. Now, pay close attention to this. This is kind of an interesting dealio. So as you can see, there are a lot of repeated patterns. There's an area that's got heavy traffic. If you knew what these, I'm just going to share some of the things that this aircraft can do. This GLEX, it's run by Lassai Aviation. It's a third party. Our government often uses these third party companies because they can't, the government that is, they can't develop programs fast enough to keep up with the technologies that are out there. And so they go to these third parties because these folks can get things done in 6 to 9 months. These GLEX birds, they're like a Q4 Global Hawk with afterburners, all right? Just insane capabilities. They have the EO and the IR plus SAR, and I'll kind of back up and just tell you, EO, so electro-optic, right? So think of having a sniper scope at 45,000 feet, okay? IR, that's infrared. The SAR capability, that's going to be synthetic aperture radar. That means it can look through the clouds day or night, right? There's just all kinds, signal intelligence, quite a bit of activity from this company. And like I said, they use them because they have to. They don't have the abilities to do it all themselves with the assets that we have in our own military, et cetera. So, but the people that are behind it, you're talking DOD contracts, right? Intelligence community, Homeland Security, FBI, HSI, right? And, here's the thing that makes us so lethal. And the fact is, it's got AI-assisted object tagging. So when this thing's flying over an area, it's picking targets and it's locking them down real time and lightning fast, okay? And then, of course, it's uplinking all of that stuff to these fusion centers. Now, you've heard me mention that. That's where your agencies basically are working to base, like there's one in McKinney here, right, in Texas. That's where they collect all the data that comes in and they process it, they analyze it, and they figure out, okay, we're starting to see trend data that may indicate this is the actual threat, or they're getting spikes in cell traffic where maybe they're catching sleeper cells. Thus, you see some of the arrests that have been taking place. So when you see all of these patterns happening with the flights, pay attention. That's 30 days, folks. It is astronomically high, over the top. That tells you we're not imagining this. And sorry, I had this on the loop, so if it looks like it's going through while I was talking, yeah, it was. All right, there's that piece. Now just look at the last 2 days, because this is kind of an interesting little deal. You'll notice I'll start us off over in the Asian Pacific side of the house. They have been a little more active over there, but you get to the U.S., Middle East is really not too much to speak of. But look over the U.S., you'll notice there's like a little crisscross pattern here, almost like X marks the spot where they're going over Vegas very closely, right? This thing is processing video as well as it's picking out targets and just creating, it's like painting a canvas with all of the data. Like I said, it's a Q4 drone with afterburners practically, okay? I'm kind of throwing that out there on steroids, whatever you want to call it. But you can see, now notice those search patterns, again, kind of pushing in on the mountainside, right? And that one's not a big deal. That looks like maybe some touch and goes there. But all right, now look at the drone activity we get here over, we'll start out over the Asian Pacific side again, just a little bit. This is the last 2 days. And then I'm going to take you over to, we'll look at the Middle East, Australia actually, before I go to the Middle East. And you do have a little bit of drone activity here on the northern end. So pay attention to that. I know I've got followers from Australia, South Africa, kind of all around the world. Yeah. Okay. And you can see some activity there south of Crete, out there over Italy, just a little bit blips. Now, what's really crazy, look how dark it has gotten over the United States. You don't see them. I can guarantee they're flying. But look at, little Q9 there at the north, little Q, probably 9 at the south too, all right? Now look at the R135 traffic, folks. Okay, this is going to be your nuke sniffer, all right? I showed you that the other day, just kind of popping up. They've been kind of quiet as of late. Let me take that away. Let me just show you the latest. I just showed you Lassai Aviation last 2 days. Notice, they're painting a box. You'll see it down south, all right? Looking something, remember, these are side looking. And then this one right here, also kind of punch it into the frame. Same spot Lassai is looking, okay? But then look at the last 30 days. This is going to blow your mind because there's a lot of traffic. Again, signal intelligence, right? Anything that's being transmitted, it's snatching it right out of thin air. Yeah, you can see pretty active and busy around Taiwan. Right there around the strait, which we'll look at here at the very tail end. I've got some ship traffic I'll just show you. We've been watching. Kind of fanning out over Europe. Look at the U.S. compared to everything else, right? This is the homeland, folks. Look at the amount of traffic by the R135s, right? Now that little spot right there in Texas, like you can see going down to the border, actually flying along the border all the way around. The little spot there in Texas that had kind of the half moon shape, that was actually going to be, that's really nothing more than just a calibration flight, okay? Now, this is AWACS, again, down to the borders, a little concerning, right? Out over the water, right? Probably looking for stuff around Trump. They're looking at ship traffic. They're looking for, any kind of thing. They'd be trying to find Club Ks, okay? Again, if you don't know what Club Ks are, I've talked about them in the past. It's basically a missile system that's hidden in freight containers, all right? Shipping containers. So you could take those right out of the port, put them on a truck, and park them somewhere in the United States, and they'd have basically an internal threat capability. Russia has them, Iran has them, China has them, maybe even India has them, okay? So, all right. Hopefully you're tracking. And remember, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to prepare you, all right? Just based on everything that I'm seeing, this is absolutely that they are very concerned. If things don't pop off, 4th of July or our Independence Day, which is a big deal for us, and they know that, you're going to see a lot of scrambling by ICE to try to get these folks before they are actually able to hit us. Okay. All right. Now, let's continue on. I showed you the AWACS R135s. Take a look at the tanker activity. We start talking about air refueling. Again, a little bit of stuff going on out near Japan, okay? And that's because you had the Ruskies out there doing stuff. And then you can see a lot of activity running right up to the coast of Israel, right? So, again, shows you there's a lot of fighter activity. Let me fast forward this on over to the U.S., and then you can just see, we've been pretty active. You see the flights that are going across the drink, right? We covered this last time. The reason for that, I believe the reason we're seeing that is because we are continuing to push assets into the Middle East. I think that we realize there's a high probability that something may occur here on U.S. soil, and we know that Iran will be behind it. And so we're getting stuff in position to basically strike Iran if and when that occurs here in the United States. We're also probably pushing in, and I'll show you some of the assets. We're probably pushing in a replacement of all the Patriot missiles that we just fired out of Qatar and everywhere else, right? So, all right. Now, let me take you over to the headline. I talked to you about, I showed you the 30 days of Intel flights. This is this is the graphic that just supports the fact you see the big uptick here in the last 2 weeks, right? All of a sudden the lines just start going upward. Yeah, that's because they are now in panic mode. You got a big holiday coming up. You got people hidden in our country that want to do harm to us, and they're trying to find them and catch them before they can. So it's a race against the clock on both sides, right? These people that are sleeper cells that are in here to do harm, they know right now that we're looking for them. So they've gone quiet, right? They're probably passing notes to each other. They're getting off the comms. They're trying to do everything they can not to give up their location. And we're trying to find them before they do. It is classic cat and mouse, okay? All right. Now, take a look. We're going to go through some headlines, and I just want to refresh some things for you. All right, let me hide this one. Okay, get rid of the graphic. Now, October 2023. You remember Director Wray at the Senate hearing? And this is what he said, quote, "The reality is the terrorism threat has been elevated through 2023, but the ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the U.S. to a whole new level." Wray noted calls from Hamas, ISIS, Hezbollah for the attacks, emphasizing the risk of lone offenders radicalized here at home. All right, let's move on. This is a subcommittee, right? The House Appropriations Subcommittee. April 2024. Given those calls for action, our most immediate concern has been that individuals or small groups will draw twisted inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks here at home. Plus, warning about coordinated attempts, potential for a coordinated attack here on Homeland, akin to the ISIS-K attack we saw at the Russian concert hall. Okay. Again, here we go. Senate Appropriations. This is the FY25 budget request. June 2024. All right. Wray stated the U.S. is in a heightened threat environment, describing a rogue gallery of threats from foreign terrorist organizations, and reiterated terrorism remains the FBI's top priority. Now, remember, this is when he's talking about all of this. This is when our borders wide slap open. People coming across. I mean, just walking into our country. How many Chinese nationals did we see? And we were looking at the lines, and it's all fighting age males that came in. Yeah, well, guess what? We didn't put them on planes and send them back. No, the Biden administration just released them, right? Let them go. Gave them some money. Gave them a little walking around money, some wham. Okay? Yeah. So that threat's real, and it's still there. Okay? Look at this. Homeland Security, May 2023. DHS, NTAS, Bulletin, June 22nd, 2025. Reuse, so they reinstated the same warning. They warned of ongoing Israel-Iran conflict had elevated the domestic terrorism threat with plausible Iranian-backed plots and cyber attacks targeting U.S. networks. Now, when you hear cyber attack, you don't think much about it. You just kind of go, oh, that's not going to hurt me, right? You just think, okay, you're worried more about people coming in and just shooting up the place or car bombs, et cetera, right? That's a big threat. But cyber attacks, that's kind of that silent threat. They can hit you from anywhere. They don't have to be sitting inside the country. In fact, I constantly show you the bit defender of all the stuff coming in. And that is a real threat because they can hit your infrastructure. They can make dams, the generators and stuff overheat. They can cause fires in substations. It's endless. They can get in and steal your data, right? They can do all kinds of stuff on different levels, and they're getting very sophisticated at it. So there's that piece. Then you got these guys, Border and Foreign Terrorism Oversight. This is November 2023. Wray disclosed FBI was locating individuals on terror watch lists who had entered through the southwest border with possible ISIS cell affiliation across smuggling networks. Now, how many times did I showed you Hezbollah has been working with the cartels for decades, right? Underground tunnels. Oh yeah, it's real. They come right through. Nobody even knows it. They pop a little, come out underneath the bush and they're in, okay, like Flynn. And then, of course, the cartels are so established and set up in our own country, these guys can get their hands on weapons almost immediately, right? Almost anything they need. Okay, well, let's just keep going. Here you go again. Kristi Noem, all right, Homeland Security Secretary, June 22nd. So this was, not too long ago. Right, the bulletin, U.S., Israel, Iran conflict. So now this is when we're in the mix. The ongoing Israel-Iran conflict brings the possibility of increased threat to the homeland in the form of possible cyber attacks, as we just mentioned. This is just a reiteration of what they've said in the past, meaning it hasn't gone away. The threat is still there, right? Acts of violence, anti-Semitic hate crimes, right? You see them going into churches. You see them trying to go into churches where they actually get stopped, right? But they're going to keep trying, right? That was issued under her Noam's leadership to highlight elevated risk. And then, that's all following the U.S. strikes on Iran, thus the cleric that we were talking about. In fact, we'll just go over there and revisit that dude right now. And look, remember, I just showed you this. This Iranian cleric issues a fatwa calling for all Muslims, and there's a lot of them, to seek vengeance on the U.S. and Israel. So these guys, you don't have to have like, a group of 5 or 50 people. It can be lone wolf kind of things. So he just greenlit everybody to start attacking us in Israel, right? All right. Let me get back over here to the mini. And we start talking about this next one, right? This is Tulsi Gabbard, right? Director of National Intelligence. You know how busy she is? Like, you're not hearing anything out of these folks. They're all pretty doggone quiet, right? This was just in a conference in Munich or München, right? Terrorism remains a persistent threat requiring a coordinated global response. We must disrupt and destroy terrorist organizations. Emphasized cross-border collaboration to combat ideology, leadership, financing, critical to countering foreign-inspired domestic threats, right? It's happening everywhere. We see the attacks in Spain and Germany and all over the place, right? Now, we go away from that one, and we get to Cash, another guy who's been very quiet lately, right? This one is mid-June 2025. Again, like, look at the dates on these. This is weeks ago. Haven't heard anything since. All we've seen is the uptick in surveillance. All right. FBI is increasing focus on monitoring possible Hezbollah-linked sleeper cells inside the U.S. following Israel's Operation Rising Lion in Gaza. Yeah, and then what we did, right, as well, that just put us in a prime target. Then you got this cleric coming out, basically green lighting everybody. Yeah, Kash Patel said that increased efforts to monitor possible activity from sleeper cells in the United States. Customs and Border Protection said the threat from Iran-backed sleeper cells has never been higher. All right. Now, what do you not see? I don't see events being canceled, anything like that. I'm just going to get a little creative on him, but with all of the cloud seeding they got going on, why are they not out there just making it rain so these events get canceled? It buys them more time, and people, maybe it disrupts what they're trying to do. I mean, use it against us. Well, I don't mind. You want to throw a little more rain on me just to make an event kind of go bye-bye that may stop a potential attack and buy you more time to get them? Yeah. But, our government's so efficient, they could never do something like that. So, all right. Now, I've been throwing a lot at you, so stay with me. Just want to point this one out too, folks. All right. Just kind of gives you it's not showing in Skyglass, right? I get over here to Skyglass. We pop out over here, and I do not see this aircraft, all right? I see, this flight out here, but that's it, okay? You don't see this one. Get back over to it because it will disappear. You know what that is right there? It's an E-6B Mercury, right? That right there is the Navy platform as we talk about TACAMO, take charge, move out. That one's talking to your nukes, specifically submarines, all right? So it is headed out here. So that tells you, you'd only put that out here if you got U.S. nuclear submarines in the area and you need to make sure that you have comms on them, okay? This one here, just air refueler out over the Mediterranean. So, all right, let's move on. Check us out, July 3rd. So Trump is basically he's going to get his intelligence briefing, headed outbound. He's going to be leaving, he's meeting with Eden Alexander, and then he departs to Des Moines, Iowa, okay? and participates in a Salute to America celebration, right? They get to watch the 4th of July celebration stuff happening here at 9 p.m. So, and then they depart the White House, headed to Bedminster. So, and then the president, so that's First Lady, and then the president, she's getting out of town, folks. President departs Des Moines, comes back to the White House, and then meets with her. Long day, all right? So, okay, eyes on this. Now, I will tell you, too, when we're looking at this, I did see Air Force Two was also up and about. In fact, there it is right there, as you can see on the screen, right? Headed, sorry, that way, westbound. Okay. Okay. Look at this. U.S. lawmakers propose a bill to give Israel B-2 bombers, bunker busters against future Iranian threat. Yeah, like I said, ceasefire, it's going to be temporary. The only thing you can do is start putting in enough stuff to keep maybe Iran at bay, right? But they will eventually break it, and it's going to not last. So, but the fact that we're actually talking about giving them B-2s, now, granted, we got the B-21 Raider coming on board here soon. So, but, you know, B-2s, that means you're going to have to train them how to fly them, all the other fun stuff. And then, of course, you're giving them stuff to keep that Iranian threat of nukes isolated, right? So I read that. I was like, wow, okay. All right. This is what your skies look like in terms of NOTAMs and TFRs. And you'll notice a lot of operations happening, a lot of boxes. In fact, you get up here by Detroit. Let's see what this one is. Aerial survey is scheduled. So they're getting ready to do some type of an aerial survey up here. Let me back that away. This is POTUS, right? Headed to Des Moines. And then, of course, you'll notice, too, up in this side, we've got a bunch of VIP up there near Morristown, etc., Bedminster. Right. And then these are danger boxes. This just means there's an up-tempo, particularly with our military, and that they do a lot of operations along these areas right now because of the threat tempo, right? Both coastlines. All right, take a look at Biggs. Again, this is where your Glex comes out, right? It's like a Q4 drone on afterburners, as I said. But you'll notice there are some other flights that are coming in, right? 747 from Travis. And then it leaves, heads to Germany. 747, 400. So that's moving some big cargo or a lot of boots. Okay, get over here. And this is going to be Ramstein. Look at what's coming inbound, all right? 747s. Look at them. 3 of them on the board for arrival. And then look where they're headed from here, right? Kuwait and Doha. So more than likely, these things are carrying missile defense stuff, maybe some PAC-3 missiles, something along those lines, you know, for air defense. So they're probably just, you know, restocking. And then you got the Brits. Of course, they are leaving out of the same area. You got them into Doha, or very close to Bahrain, and out of Kuwait, right? I just had one drop off the board that was leaving. Sorry, it left Cyprus and was headed here and disappeared. It looked like maybe it was an R-135 running out here, right? Signal intelligence, again, probably looking at ship traffic. Oh, in fact, there it is. I clicked on it. I'm not 100% that's an R-135, but could very well be, right? Okay. Remember I said, you know, Iran, man, they'll drop mines out there in the middle of the strait just to jack everybody up. U.S. says Iran loaded naval mines amid the threat to block the Strait of Hormuz, right? This is 20% of the world's oil passes through this strait. So, you know, if you get over here, you start looking, let me hit refresh. And you're going to notice, this is the strait right through here. You'll notice there's a lot of stuff parked. Look at the amount of oil tankers sitting out here that aren't moving, right? That's a boatload. And then you can see them in here. So I would imagine if they pass through here, they are absolutely on the edge of their seat if there are mines. A mine hits one of these tankers, and it is going to be big boom, okay? So back to this. The Iranian military loaded naval mines onto vessels in the Persian Gulf last month. That move intensified concerns in Washington, that Tehran was gearing up to blockade the strait. Right? Yeah, once you drop them in there, man, it's pretty hard to get them out, right? It's you have to have special types of ships and equipment to get that stuff. And here you go. About 1/5 of the global oil and gas shipments pass through the strait, and a blockage would likely have spiked world energy prices. So, yeah, that's a big concern. Okay. Now, remember I said U.S. is about to give Israel B-2s. We're about to give them some bunker busters with those B-2s, and that Israel has already said they're not going to allow them to get that capability. Now, you got, the Pentagon coming out saying it would take them 2 years to get all that stuff back up and running, which I find very interesting because the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, they are actually saying months, 2 months. They could have this back up and running in 2 months. So this is Iran actually with cranes and everything trying to get back into the spot that we took out because they feel like they can get their hands on some of that uranium that, I think it was uranium, that they had put, in that area that were basically being created for their nuclear program. They think they can recover some of it. So they're in there trying to get their hands on it. And then check this out, right? We just go back hard at them. U.S. Treasury issues new sanctions against Iran. So remember, Trump and the Treasury have been really knocking heads. Trump was talking about removing sanctions to get peace in the region, and Treasury's saying we're going to basically put them into place. So, anyway. Nonetheless, that is exactly the big concern, that they're going to go in there and try to recover all of that stuff. So, okay, let's, I think that's it, folks. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we talked the marine traffic. Again, look at all the stuff that's sitting, just parked. Not good. All right, well, listen, that's going to do it for our SITREP today. I hope you guys have a safe and fantastic 4th of July. Remember, I'm not trying to scare you, just trying to prepare you. We get through this moment, it will be truly a Festivus miracle, okay? Stay vigilant, right? As I say, stay frosty, keep that powder dry. If you see something, say something, all right? That's it. You guys be safe out there. God bless. Monkey out.